Corey Parker just put it really well in a quote I saw from him. Just simply said, Tonga are not scared of Australia anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's just not a backward step.
No.
There isn't, even the way that, when they arrived at the stadium, you can just see they've just got a confidence in them that, okay, you might be worth $5 million more than this side. We don't care.
Yeah. Because we got something that you don't, and that's huge.
And they know it.
Big, powerful forwards. We said it a few weeks ago, and we essentially we're all on the same page, but the gap is closing. Yes, Australia is still the best side. Yeah, okay, we could look at some players, missing or whatever. But are you really telling me that if we brought in, let's say we were at full strength, the Australian side, would we have won by that much more? I don't think so. Maybe an extra try or so, maybe. Maybe we win by 12 points. That's still a close game against, again, guys, Tonga is a nation of 100,000 people in Tonga and maybe 150,000 people in Australia. This is a tiny, tiny nation that is going up against a nation of, 21 million people or whatever it is these days. It's an incredible feat.
Well, they're in a window where they're winning the next World Cup is extremely achievable. Mm-hmm. And this series has shown that, knocking off the Kiwis within 6 of us in the final. They're probably, in the next couple of years leading into that, they probably need a 6 to come on. Hopefully Latu Whānau can be that man.
Mm.
They probably need to find a 9. That being said, if they've got like a Latu Whānau who comes on, Isaiya Katoa, we'll get to him shortly, but another 2 years under his belt, he's going to be a superstar. Lehigh Hopewade, another 2 years for him. He could be a superstar. You don't necessarily... They're not going to need a crafty number 9.
Just get in the ball.
They could find a Mitch Kenny type who just does a job and makes the tackles, makes the right decision, passes well. They're in a window to win the next World Cup.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, 100,000 in Tonga, 150,000 spread across everywhere else, but mostly New Zealand, USA and Australia.
And they're taking it to Australia where it's our, essentially our national sport to a degree, like obviously AFL. Okay, we'll just talk about him, Isaiya Katoa. What a game. I know it wasn't perfect. I know you could look at, there was a 7 tackle set with a kick or whatever. But to go up against Australia like that first try that he scored was, that first try assist that he had was magic. Dummy drop under, keep the ball in 2 hands and just skin him for numbers. We're talking about a 20-year-old in the biggest game of his career. The first game against Australia, his kicking game is just completely off. He's completely off. And he comes out and he plays the way he did. As I said, it wasn't perfect. Absolutely, he's still rough around the edges. But if you had a 20-year-old 7 come into Australia, would we expect him to just be perfect? No, we wouldn't. Matter of fact, Cleary came into the Australian World Cup side and he was a bit rusty and rough around the edges for Australia, and he was older than Katoa is. Mate, when you talk about not the last thing they needed, but the last piece of the puzzle, it is Isaiya Katoa. It is Isaiya Katoa. Now, does that mean that he's going to be, that means that Tonga are definitely going to go and win a World Cup? No, it doesn't at all. But it is one of the pieces of the puzzle that they haven't had, which is a top-tier young number 7 that's an out-and-out 7 that is leading a current NRL side around the park each week in, week out. They've finally got it. And we've seen the dividends paid. We've seen it paid. Isaiya Katoa was great for me. Yes, rough, but great.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And there are things that you can pinpoint from that game if you want. But for me, mate, I was 20 metres away from that try assist that he had.
Oh.
I think sometimes with international rugby league, when you're taking on the Kangaroos, I think sometimes we forget, this is a 20-year-old taking on the Kangaroos.
Yeah.
It's the best team you can assemble. That they shouldn't be conceding points.
Yeah.
He absolutely bamboozled them on that play. And there's only a select few of guys that realistically have done and do that to the Kangaroos. And it's your Stacey Joneses, your Sean Johnsons, these sort of guys. For him to do it as a 20-year-old, that was almost my moment of the whole series.
So good. It was such beautiful.
The corner he did it in with with it just erupted there, and it was, for me, that's you obviously got the field goal last week or the week before.
Last week.
That's the moment I walk away from and go, fuck, that's the future right there.
To strip the Aussies like that, that is number 7 ball playing at his purest form. So good.
Well, he did the double unders.
Yep.
We already know that he's one of, if not the most direct running halves in the game anyway. So, often bringing players under is a way of, getting the defenders to, be caught out on their feet and sort of, keep them guessing. Did that, then he double pumped on Hammer to make Hammer come in. Like, that was the classiest bit of the whole play where he'd already done hope, and then just bang, bang to make Hammer come in as well. Like, this is an Aussie side who they conceded 10 points against the Kiwis before that. I know Katoa was there, but in the first game they didn't concede against Tonga.
Yep.
Even in this one, there was the kick for the try and then Isaiya Katoa barnstorming from dummy half. It is an unbelievable defensive unit. And purely on sleight of hand and vision, he was able to do that. Yeah. It was a brilliant play.
20 years old. 20 years old. It is just... I tell you what, the Dolphins are just sitting there just going, that's always the ingredient that a lot of the powerhouses need is that 7. And granted, he's got a very long way to go and he's young and all that kind of stuff, but he can't do much more. He really can't do much more as a young ball player at the moment. So
even have a look at that play too. Like, it's Alamotti, it's Lehigh, it's Isaiya Katoa on the wing. They're not guys he plays with.
Yeah.
Like, he's literally a kid walking into this side. He's got 3 or 4 weeks to get used to this squad. He's got all the pressure in the world on his shoulders after the first game. He's got this whole country on his shoulders, realistically. Like, the forward pack can be as dominant, as good as they want. We've learned over the last 30 years, you need a 7.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It is the pressure on this. Think of the pressure on this kid. Look at how passionate the Tongan fans are. The downside to that is immense pressure, and he is the guy that's got to get it done. Anyway, I thought it was outstanding. You even go back to this year. He went down to Penrith with the Dolphins and tore the Penrith Panthers apart in the first 20 minutes. Granted, the Penrith Panthers came back and won the game, but this is what this kid can do.
And we'd sat on this panel for weeks saying that Panthers right edge, that's the spot we'd target. The halfback that did it better than anyone else in the comp was him.
He was him, 100%. So outstanding performance.